Hey guys, it's Shanice, also known as your local paint shop, and I am here with another video that focuses on Salon. I did notice, and I also appreciate you guys loving my last two videos about commission versus booth rent. I love hearing you guys' opinions about commission and opinions about booth rent, and even you guys sharing your experiences. So keep doing that because that video is doing very, very well. This video is going to be a little bit different. So this video is going to be about 3 things that if I could do differently, I would do differently if I had the opportunity to start my career over. I got this topic idea from, I think it was either Hair Education Forum or Hairbrained, and they asked the question, and a lot of stylists, they did put their input in there. So I'm gonna put the picture somewhere like over here so that you guys can see the question as well. But anyway, because I don't want to make this video super long. The first thing that I would change if I could start my career over would be more bold and confident. I think confident and bold is like the same thing, or they're like synonyms, but I use both of them because when I first started out, I was very shy. I was very timid. I was very reserved. Like, I don't know. It was almost like I would go within myself, if that makes sense. And especially like when it came to money and when it came to services. And there's some stylists that still do owe me money for services that they asked me to do. Even photographers that owe me money, things like that. I would never speak up because I'm like, oh, I don't want to speak up because I don't want to look like I'm mean, or like I'm being a brat about my money, or I'm being like ungrateful for what they asked me to do, or just, you know what I'm saying? And I wish that I was more bold, like saying like, I'm sorry, you owe me X amount of dollars. Like, you asked me to take down your client's hair or to shampoo your client's hair, and I still didn't receive payment. Or, I remember, to give you guys a little bit of scenario, I remember one day there was a lady, she had a client that needed to be taken down, like her braids needed to be taken down and needed to be shampooed. Nobody told me that I was supposed to get the payment for the takedown and the shampoo from the client. Nobody told me that. So when I had noticed that the girl, like, I had did everything and I sent her to go sit with her stylist, I didn't receive any payment. The day had went on and I never said anything. So like, I think the next day there was another stylist in the same salon that I was cool with. And I was like, hey, you know, so-and-so, I didn't get any money. And then that's when she had told me, she was like, but if I was you, I wouldn't say nothing. And I was, because you should have said something when it first happened, not now, because you let days go by. And I was like, really? And basically she kind of, she alluded to a situation that she had. I don't know if it was with that same stylist or with some stylists in the same salon, to where like when she spoke up, it was a whole big issue and she just wished she never said nothing. So when she did that, I was like, oh, I definitely don't want to do that because I can't fight. Like, I can't fight. I don't want no smoke. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna have to let that slide. I also feel like because I was so nice and I was so passive, and because this is something that I actually like to do, I would help and do things for people, and I wouldn't speak up about money. I wouldn't mention money. I would be like, well, if they don't mention it, then I'm not gonna mention it. You know what I'm saying? And I remember the owner of a salon that I used to work at was like, girl, you got to stop sitting around here and not making any money. Like, what all did you do today? And I will pay you for that. And she was the only person that actually was like, no, I'm not letting you leave out of here without making any money. The second part to that first thing is being more confident. I remember when I went back to school for my instructor's license, which is recorded here, and I'll link that. One of the girls was telling me, I asked her, was like, how did you build your clientele? And she was like, you know, I would take every opportunity that I had to talk about what I did. And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah, like if somebody complimented me on my hair, I would take that as an opportunity to tell them that I'm a hairstylist and this is where I work at. Or if I would compliment somebody on their hair color, haircut, whatever, I would take that as well as an opportunity to promote myself. And I was like, wow, that's not something I did. Because like I told y'all, I was really shy and I was really reserved and very passive. And a part of me, or a big part of me, wanted my business to build based off word of mouth and like how great I was versus trying to promote myself to get that word of mouth. Anyway, child, that's young me, not me today. But anyways, so it's like, well, I don't do that. Because like I used to wear a short haircut that was pink. And people love that haircut. People love that hair color too. So I'm like, that was so many opportunities that I could have promoted myself and I didn't. Or even using social media to promote myself. Like I was so in my head about, oh, what are people gonna think? What are people gonna say? Like, then I would get so defeated. Like when people would inquire about my services and I would tell them the price, they would either not reply. Most of them would not reply. Or some of them like, oh, okay, thank you. And, or like they'll say, which everybody hates this phrase, oh, okay, I think I'll find somebody cheaper or whatever. And I'm just like, dang, and it's just like you get defeated. But it's like you sharing your post on social media. Don't be so hypercritical of yourself or thinking that people are going to pull your picture apart and like, she this and she that, or, her work ain't like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody starts somewhere. So post it anyways and then just keep posting it. Like that's something that I have to do to help myself to not be so hypercritical. It's just do it anyways. And oh well, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh well. The second thing is be more independent. I was not clingy. I am not clingy. When I say be more independent, I mean like think of myself as enough to do what it is I want to do or to achieve the goals that I want to achieve. I used to have a mindset of like, oh, if I work at this salon, if I work with these people, or if I get to know these people, it would help me build my clientele. Or if I became like associates with this person, like, being associated with a certain group of people, it would help my clientele. And it's like, that could not have been furthest from the truth. Now, I know for some people that actually works for them. It actually works for them. But for me, baby, no. Heck no. It ain't work like that. And I'll give you another example. I was working in this really popular salon, and thank God I was able to pay my booth rent every single week. Like I would go in there and I have no appointments, and I would come out with able to pay my booth rent and have a little money left over. And it was because that salon was so popular. People would call and they would be trying to get in, they can't get in, and depending on the service, I would do it. Or even like sometimes if the stylist had a client that would call and they just couldn't get in or they didn't want to take them, they're like, oh, did you want this? And that adds up. And I'm like, yes, like I will, as long as it's a service that I can do, because I didn't do weave. I still don't because I'm not really good at it. So a lot of that kind of stuff I didn't do, but everything else I could do. So, they helped out tremendously. But when it came time to leaving, because I had left the salon, I might tell y'all that story about why I left that salon. I don't know. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to pray about it too. But anyways, when it came time for me to leave the salon, nobody followed me. Only one girl that I had gained as a client there actually followed me to another salon I was at, and she's actually been following me at every other salon that I've went to since then. Only one. And I was like, that's crazy, because I've been there. I've serviced so many people, not so many people, but a decent amount of people, to where you like, dang. So it just goes to say, like, I wish I was more independent. Like, go there because you want to grow your skill, not because you think that it's going to build your business. Like if it builds your business, great, amazing. But if you learn a new skill, that's even more better, because the reason why people book with you is not necessarily who you are associated with. It's more so because of your skill set, because of your professionalism, because of the client experience that you provide with your client. That's what lasts in this. That's the lasting expression. I'm sorry, I was stumbling over words. There are some people who they do build clientele based on who they are or based on who they're associated with. That works for them. But for me, right here, Shanice, no, it didn't work like that. And I'm like, I wish I had taken that mentality out, because I made so many business mishaps and I cost myself so much money thinking that way. When if I had more confidence in myself, like, you can do this, you got this, I would be a lot further ahead. So the third thing that, if I could do this all over again, that I would change would be, I would learn to pivot. I just spoke about this with my mother, and I was telling her, I was like, one thing I feel like people did not do with us is, I feel like as we were growing up, just me and people that I know and just adulting in general, they didn't teach us how to pivot. Like, when things do not go your way, you can't get stuck there. You have to pivot. You have to figure out, how can I change directions? You know what I'm saying? Basically, that's what pivoting is, like, to change directions. And it's like, we don't learn that. By the time we do learn that, we like, dang, baby, I wish I learned this a long time ago. But in my career, I wish I would have learned to pivot. I wish I would have learned, like, okay, that's not working out, so let me figure out what else I can do to make this work for me. Versus, like, for me, I was quick to go get me another job. Like, if I wasn't making money like that at the salon, I would get a third shift job, or I would get a job that I could work around the salon. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm the kind of person, and I just realized that I tend to focus on what's in front of me, not really what I really want to do. So, like, if I'm working a lot at the other job, that's where my mind is. Of course, I want to do this, but this is where my mind is, because honestly, this is what's paying the bills. And at one point in my career, my second job was actually paying the booth rent at the other salon. So it's like, that's what I was focused on. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I got to pay bills, I got to do this, I got to do that. And it's just, I wish I learned how to pivot. Like, I wish that in the salon, I'm like, okay, that's not working, let's do something else. Like, I know that you might not want to run a special, I can't stand that word, but you have to, like, bring in some of those clients to help you to pay your bills. Like, find other ways, like, to strategize your business. Like, is it you need to learn how to use social media more? Like, whatever. I wish I learned how to pivot more. I can't even, I don't know. I just wish I learned how to pivot. So, I hope that you guys like this video. I would love to hear more from you as far as what are 3 things you would do differently if you were able to start your career over. I did want to encourage you guys also and just tell you, like, you are where you are in your career and in your life for a reason. I know that there are things that we could have done right. I also know that there are things that we could have avoided, but we chose not to. Like, life is full of choices, basically, is what I'm saying. And your life is where it is because of your choices, but also because this is where you're supposed to be. So before you get down on yourself, just remember that it's okay. Like, I'm grateful for where I am. I'm not going to live in a shoulda, woulda, coulda. And I'm going to try to make the best of what I have and apply what I know now to move myself forward. Because I feel like we get stuck a lot of times because we're like, dang, if I wasn't there, if I wasn't with this person, if I didn't do that, if I did this, if I did that, I would be further. And it's like, that could very well be true, but we don't have a time machine. We can't go back and redo everything to see how it'll end up. We can't do that. We only can take what we have now, apply what we learned then, and put it there, and then, help. And I think that's another way of learning how to pivot as well, is like learning from your mistakes and doing what you should have done now so that you can move forward. So I don't want to keep rambling because this video is getting real long. But I look forward to talking with you in the comments. I hope that you guys are doing well. And remember that it's you that makes you beautiful. I'll see you guys in the next video.